and further discussions, and hopefully we'll be able to tell more about that in the next few days on exactly when a football programme will commence, and we hope that will start long before we get the full programme up and running once the other two are released from the contracts.
The thing that's different about our show, going back to the other question, the thing that's different about our show is it's no nonsense, big opinions, big egos, and no propaganda. We're not in bed with anybody. We give our honest opinion. It might be wrong, but we give our gut instinct and what we believe in. We're not trying to get people on our side or upset people. We give our honest opinion, and I think in the modern world there's not enough people do that. There's a lot of journalists even scared to ask some questions these days in case they take the caught. That's the world we live in. It's becoming like Russia, to be honest. Is this England or Russia?
On that subject, really, just rewind it back on something you said earlier. The reason you lost your severance pay is because you did an article in the Middlesbrough Evening Gazette.
Yes.
That strikes me as strange, because if I had you on board, anything I was involved with, especially radio, and an evening newspaper wanted to do a story with you, I would regard that as useful publicity. And I can't really see why that should be. Because you are coming out of the opinion, you're not dishing out.
But the only reason, I mean, I do a bit for the Gazette. It's not as if I say, oh, I'll do a bit because I've been sacked. I do a weekly column, and it's something I did for years.
Oh, so it wasn't a one-off?
Oh, it wasn't a one-off. No. That was the topic at the minute. If it was signed David Beckham, I'm sure that would have probably stole the headlines. And
so what was the content of this article?
It was the content, and the reason was the company who I worked for put out a statement. Now, they didn't say, are you happy with that? They did that, and they're entitled to do that.
You mean Real Radio put that statement?
Well, yeah, my ex-employers.
Right, yeah.
I wouldn't give them the coverage. But they put out a statement, so I in return put out my statement. Because there was a word in their statement that says a decline in the figures. Now, for me, that was very, very misleading, because the decline in the figures may have been factually true, because the industry has declined over the years, but the figures of the show was #1 on the station that I've just left, #1 in the North East, and #1 in the country between 6 and 8. So very, very misleading, naughty. But I'm only a wee guy who lives in Teesside. I'm not a businessman.
So you put that right in the middle?
I put that right to try and correct, because the content which I read was a wee bit naughty, in my opinion. My opinion.
Are you in that case taking a bit of a lead?
No, I'm not. I'm not. They've said with my wages, I'll accept it like a man. I'll drive on, and yeah, I can't afford the lawyer. If you've got a few quid and you want to help me, then I'll go for it.
Well, I've got a few quid, not that much.
We're more than me at the minute. I'm on the dole.
What I am used to as a former working journalist is the right to reply.
Well,
and I think you might have a case.
Well, thank you very much for showing an interest, but I can show you the exact piece it went out, and you can read it as a journalist, and you can tell me, because I told the journalist when he was doing it, and I've known this guy for years, make sure it's not slanderous in any way. So
yeah, but the point is, it won't cost you a fortune.
Right, well,
if you're still entitled to your severance.
I will meet you in the back room later on then.
Can I just say that the legends, the three legends, when we had the discussions, knew that we are a community radio station, we are not for profit. So definitely in the very, very short term, there was no money for them coming to do the show. They were doing this show purely out of the goodness of the heart, because they knew there was a fan base out there, they knew there was a need for this to be done. And they've got to be applauded for that, and it's really, really sad and unfortunate that we can't commence the programming when we really, really wanted to, because of the contractual issues of the other two guys.
And I know that's very hard to believe. You know, some people out there are saying, yeah, right, we get money from somewhere. We were voluntary doing it for the 3 months that we were supposedly getting paid, crack on, try and get the people who loved the former show, switch on to Koast Radio and crack on and get everybody else involved, and that's what we were wanting to do. I was wanting to travel for Teesside every night up here to get it going. And
just to boil this down, you're prepared to do, you're doing this for free to keep a platform.
I'm doing this for free.
To keep a platform for yourself.
Yeah, because there's no other platform at the minute. So it suits Koast Radio, it suits me as an individual, and hopefully down the line we can get everything back on track.
I mean, cynically.
Yeah, you can.
Cynically, you might take the view that Malcolm and Mickey aren't here because they're not prepared to do it for free. Is that not the case?
That's not the case.
No, that is it.
You need to speak to them on.
You speak to them about that.
Okay.
But I think you know the answer if you're a journalist.
Got a question down the front, I believe.
It's not so much a question, but I'm not a reporter, and I met Bernie earlier on. I've been the MP for this area and fighting for local radio and community radio.
Okay.
I think it's absolutely fantastic what you say. Welcome to God's own country, by the way.
I have to say it's a lovely part of the world.
It is, it's fantastic. I'm sure you will enjoy it. And the fact that you're prepared to come up here free of charge for Koast Radio, which is a fantastic community facility radio in the area, is brilliant, and thanks very much for that. Just to re-emphasise what you said, the Three Legends show means so much to people who are totally isolated from the rest of society, the rest of community.
Yeah.
These are people, a lot of these people, you mentioned blind people, you've got disabled people, you've got old people, you've got people who very rarely move from their properties, and the only way they can keep in contact with their local community in this context, the sports community, is by listening to the likes of the three.
Of course it is.
And congratulations, because the content's fantastic, the banter's even better, and what you said before is that you're not bothered whether people agree with you. It's a show of opinions.
That's right.
I just hope that everybody recognises the value placed upon community radio and the jobs that you actually do for people who otherwise would be isolated from the rest of the community. So I don't think you get enough praise for it. I think a lot of people just say, well, they're here for the money. You're not here for the money, you're doing a great job in the community. Koast Radio and other community radios are doing a good job in the community. So well done. I think I'm just saying that from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you.
Because you'll get cynics saying,
well, they will, and they will come. Everybody's got an opinion, and I accept the criticism as well as the praise. But there's one guy who I'd love to get in touch with. I don't know his number. Hopefully he hears the news or somebody reads him the news, because he's actually a blind guy. There was one Newcastle fan, I think his name was Frank, who had phoned the start of last season, because we're in Newcastle, and I know you're a Newcastle fan despite your red tie. and you try to kid us. And this guy, Frank, had phoned the show beginning of last season and says, listen, I'm a Newcastle United fan. I think he's Algerian, by the way, but he's a Newcastle fan. I don't know how that came about. And he promised that he would take myself and one of my colleagues to a European game if Newcastle made Europe. And obviously he did make Europe, and he has promised us that he would take us. Now, I want to find out where he lives, what's his number. but on the back of it, coming to the blind guy, I can't remember the blind guy's name, I hope he doesn't mind me coming, he's told us he's blind. He, on the back of it, come on and says, would you take me with you and look after me? Because he's a Newcastle fan as well. And I've told him, we'll definitely take you. So hopefully we can find both the numbers, get it arranged, and I still think that's a good old ending. You know, yeah. So hopefully we can find the names and numbers. I'm sure somebody will.
Absolutely. Bernie, just out of interest, I know a lot of people are asking this. What was it that kind of appealed to bring your Three Legends show of Koast under the other three, or the other two, should we say, to Koast Radio? What was it about Koast Radio that attracted you?
Well, Vicky, right away. Vicky having the. Can you use the word balls? I'm using it. Vicky having the balls to say, look, we've not got any money. We can give you a room with microphones. You can broadcast. You can go via the internet, because I think that's went up by 8% last year, was it? Yeah. So that's the way forward. Years to come, I think there'll be a great deal listening via the internet. And I just thought it was very appealing. And I think, despite what footballers or ex-players get portrayed as money grabbers and this and that, there is a sense of charity within us guys. You know, I've done charity things in the past, loads of charity things down in Teesside, and I think that was an attraction as well. Genuinely, you know, not all money grabbers. But yeah, we all want money. We need money to survive, but we take professional pride in what we do, and we know we've got a great product. We know that we've got the audience, and we want to get back in there. And if that can help the local community up here and help us, then why not? And please the people who are housebound and blind, and if we can, it helps everybody. So that's the reason.
And I mean, you touched on, obviously, your listeners. How important are those listeners going to be over the coming weeks in order to get you back on air sooner rather than later?
Without a doubt.
When I see yourself, all three of you.
Without a doubt, they're massively important. We're only the hosts. The real stars are the listener. Because without the listener, you don't get radio.